No image, but we hear you.
We're working on it. You hear me?
There you are. There you are.
Thank
Yes,
God.
nick of
I
time
was getting
because
a little
listen,
salty.
Listen, I know you're getting a little salty, but you made it in the nick of time because now we are officially live for the first time in over a couple months on the 239 Hockey Twitch channel for the Season 9 pre-draft and draft show. Mr. Icon, Mark Ferguson, and Dominator Silva.
Hang on a second. Who the fuck put this guy in charge of this? Who put this guy in charge of this fucking show? It's Season 9 draft. Nobody came on here to see Bailey Cortez and his fucking Doc Emmerich gimmick. Nobody came on here to see it. You're here to see the one, the only, X to the D to the A to the L to the Y, the symbol, the icon, the most polarizing man in 239 history. So, Bailey, let me do the intro. You don't do the intros.
No, I'm gonna be
When you
I
missed
came
the
on here
show-
to see Dom and Dom only.
Listen, when you missed the show for over 4.5 weeks, 4.5, I just said, 4 weeks consecutively, I'm allowed to kind of do some things, all right?
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. 239 ponied up. They decided to pay the premium, so the icon is back. They don't want to watch you bums anymore. That's why I'm fucking here. So with that being said, it is Season 9 draft. We are here. We are ready. And let me properly introduce the panel right here, right now. Mark Ferguson, how are you doing tonight?
Great. Honestly, it's been a while since I've been on a panel with a couple of you boys. Dom, I don't know if I ever have, maybe in a show before, but honestly, I'm glad. I'm happy. It's the best night in 239's draft night, baby. And we're all looking forward to seeing what captain's going to suck, what captain's going to succeed. And it'll be pretty evident, I think, early on some early picks. I think we're going to see who's going to succeed this season and who's not.
Dominator Silva wearing his beanie inside. It is not even winter. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bro.
What's up? Excited to be here. How you doing?
Doing great. Last but not least, the guy who really doesn't know how to do a hook, doesn't know how to do an intro, doesn't know how to do a pitch, but he is your Season 8 champion, Bailey Cortez. How you doing?
Listen, I'm doing good. I got two things here, all right? As the chief, you can't even read it. It's backwards. Fuck it. All right. It's gonna say I'm kind of a big deal. Fuck it. It's gonna be backwards for all of you guys. Listen, I'm happy to be on the show. I'm happy that Season 9 is here. Season 8 is over. Listen, it was one hell of a finals there, Dom, but it's time to move on. We're here for Season 9 and Season 9 only on this brand new game that they seem to break every week. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's talk about the Season 9 draft.
How big of a fucking mess is Cortez? Guy goes out, he wins a cup. Cool, great, grand. He's got backwards notes saying he's the champion, like some 12-year-old.
Didn't say he was the champion. I said
here.
I am the chief, and as the chief, I say I'm kind of a big deal. That's what I went for. But it didn't
And on top of it, on top of every single thing we have, he is wearing sunglasses inside. So obviously trying to be polarizing, trying to be entertaining, failing at all the above. But as I said last week, or last show, whenever that was, we were going to talk about the middle rounds. It's draft night. I'm excited. I know all you guys are excited. But we're not going to do the round one bit. We always do the round one bit. Forget all that crap. We're going into the middle rounds. This is where drafts are won. And I want to start with round 2. And the reason I want to start with round 2 is Brian with a Y, the self-proclaimed Season 8 champ who couldn't quite get it done and literally rage quit D-Mart out of the league. And Grish into captaining, let that sink in for a minute, has 2 picks at the, excuse me, hold on a second. You know what, we'll stop the show for this. Hold on a second.
You don't get paid enough to stop. I don't pay you enough to stop.
Sorry, man. I was a bit parched, so I am going to get back into it now. I want to send it over to Dominator Silva because you guys did a really interesting show. I thought you guys did a great job with the Bro Show. But I'm interested. What does Brian do with that first pick, round 2? Again, I'm interested in the rat picks always. We've gone back to the normal snake draft strategy. The 3RR is no more. What do you think happens here with round 1, round 2, here with Brian with a Y?
Yeah, I think those picks are dependent on the first rat picks. It could be if he doesn't grab a center, which obviously he likes to have Cam with the center. I could see him taking Jakku, the 2 part-timers that was talked about on the Bro Show. If not, simply just a goalie and a D. Best available. Probably getting a Holtby at that point. My guess.
Do you think that Holtby is the... he's playing goalie, correct? I haven't seen him play in this game.
He's got everything listed, including goalie. So
if you take Holtby at that spot, where do you play him? Because it brings up an interesting person, and I'm starting to think of Wanisimov. And if you think of Wanisimov back to when the Swift Pups won that, was that season 7, Wanisimov was the center on that line between Esoteric and Brian with a Y. So is that a person that could be taken here, or do you really, really think that him and Holtby have that chemistry? Is Holtby going to end up being his goalie? What do you think, Fergie? Is that a realistic pick after the season that he had last?
I think it's realistic. Yeah, I don't see him going that route. I really don't think he will go goalie that early. After last season, how late was it before a top goalie went off? Was it end of third, middle of third? I don't remember to a T, but it was late. Like compared to years prior, there's always been people that made mistakes. What was that?
I picked Thomps at the end of the second round last season.
Okay.
First goal was second round.
Right. So, but I mean, end of second, beginning of third is when those goalies all started trickling, and I don't know if he makes a jump that early, but I don't blame him if he does, because he's a little ways away from his next pick after that. So I think if he's going to do it, he should. Nothing wrong with having a top goaltender that you can rely on back there. But you're still going to have to put a good defensive pair with him to make it work. So,
Dominator Silva, I have an interesting question for you. I need a name. I need a name of a player in these middle rounds, maybe a third round pick, maybe a fourth round pick. Who's a player that's going to fall in this draft, probably shouldn't fall in this draft, and why? Give me one name. I see a couple on this list, but I'm interested to see what you have.
It's tough because a lot of those guys that I would have as names are part-timers, kind of like Hergy, Bish. Apparently Webb moved to part-time last second. Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's confirmed. So Webb he got a new job. He's working 3 to 11 on a lot of shifts. So he came to the admins, super stand up, by the way. He came to the admin and said, hey guys, listen, this is something that's happened. I've got a new opportunity. I've gotten a new job. What do you think I should do? I don't want to be shady. I don't want to be, a piece of shit. So shout out to him. He did it the right way. Ultimately, we recommended the part-time push. With that kind of schedule, man, and only playing 2 nights a week and it being really up in the air, part-time makes sense. At least, if anything, hopefully he can get in, that 1 game a week. Some weeks he might not be available at all, so draft at your own risk. If I was taking a guy like Webb, maybe round 3, early round 4, I'm trying to see what his schedule is going to be like. What day is he 100% off? And I might be basing my refuse day around that, because if he's in this draft, he's probably he is a top 10 pick, even at right D. People don't know. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't, or some people do, some people don't. He's a great right D. He's a great forward, but I think he has right D and goalie this year, and I think he plays all those positions well. So he'll probably fall. Another name that I have on my list is Flode. Cortez, you're wearing sunglasses in your fucking house. I don't want to hear your shit. Okay? I'll call him whatever I want.
Thank you.
I'll call him whatever I want. And here's the thing about Flode. The thing is that he took a damn season off. We're on a new game. We're on a new platform. He's the guy that's probably going to drop, and all of a sudden Pogs is going to get this reunited crew, man. He's got surprised me. You can't seem to perform on anybody's team other than Pogs. I'm calling you out, man. Surprise me when you're not with your homies. You play like shit. People want to know, can you carry a squad? Well, you're not going to have to do it this year. You're going to end up with your boy Pogs. I'm sorry I had to do that to you, but it's just the reality. So I'm going to send it over to you, Bailey. Give me a name. Somebody in this draft pool, somebody on this list that's going to fall but probably shouldn't.
2 names, Shea and Wizzy War. Shea, he went round 2 to you last season. Was a lot of people thought highly of him going into the draft because, referred by Brian. Brian might take him, can't allow him to go to Brian. He knows what he's doing. He's a good versus and hut player. Will that transfer into sixes? And, his center game, I think, struggled a little bit, and he'd be a little bit better if he was off of center. And I think because of him being traded, I think 3 times, or he was on 3 different teams, traded twice or whatnot, I think he falls down a little bit. And I think people are going to forget about the season Wizzy Ward just had a defense, especially going into 19. And I think he's also going to fall as well. Those are 2 very key aspects to a team that somebody could use.
I think it's a good point. It's weird, too, because I know I gave you shit about Wizzy War on defense. Yeah, I gave you shit about that, but it ended up working out for you guys. But when I look at Wizzy's game, I definitely feel like he's a really, really good forward. I think he's an underrated forward. He can play in a system. He likes to play cycle style. I do agree with this. I think this is a really good name. I think this name does fall on the list, and he probably shouldn't. I definitely can see myself taking him early round 4, late round 3. I know it seems like a stretch, but I feel like he's done enough now, especially with the cup run, showing some versatility. To me, it kind of says a little bit, but ultimately I think this guy ends up going end of round 4, early round 5, and I think that's simply too late for a guy who can play that kind of versatility and has shown that he can play, multiple spots. So that'll be an interesting name to see. Another name I want to talk about here is, and this is an interesting name that always seems to get brought up. This guy always starts really hot. Amazing Viper. Where does Amazing Viper fall in a draft like this? Now, mind you, this is a guy that has scored over 30 goals, over 40 goals in a season a couple times. So where does a guy of this caliber seem to fall? People will say, oh, he's a push-up kind of guy. He's good in the system. But what do you think, Fergie? A guy like Viper who seems to go later in drafts but always seems to have some sort of success, where could you see a guy like him going in a draft like this?
That's a tough question because I've played games with Viper that I'm like, holy shit, this dude's fucking awesome, and he plays terrific. And I played games at the same time where I'm like, dude, what's going on? But I think everybody has those. I have them. I mean, everybody has those games. But I think you hit the nail on the head. I think he plays well with other good players around him. Do they have to all be really good? No, because he's proved to be able to do it with others. But that's where he's had the most success, and I think that's where he's going to win the most. But I think if he gets paired up with like a Cosmic, well, obviously he probably won't play with Cosmic, but a Noah Gretzky's or a Schwartz or somebody that's a dynamic forward or Pogs, that lineup with Pogs and Surprise. I mean, I think he would fit so well into a team like that, and I think they'd have a lot of success drafting him. I don't know where he would draft or where he would get picked up. I think he's a guy that could be a round 3 guy, he could be a round 4 guy. It just depends on where a team sees where they might have the most fit.
It's interesting to think too when you look at a guy like Viper who continually does it. 34, he's always taken at the back end. He's viewed as a trigger guy. I'm curious to see how his game transfers over into the new one. So I'll be looking forward to seeing how he does with that. Next thing, I think this might be the most part-timers we've ever had in a season.